Hi, my name is Marisa. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you my experience with IPL and laser treatments to the face skin. And more important, I'm very happy to share with you approximately 40 minutes of my last treatment with Debbie Thomas, which is one of the most renowned and well-known laser specialists in the UK. So if you are interested in this content, just keep on watching. Before we start, I just would like to say that this video is not sponsored or made in partnership with the Debbie Thomas Clinic. The treatment was entirely paid by me, and the opinions that are shared in this video are totally unbiased. And second, because this video is larger than the previous ones that I've made, I've placed on the description below timestamps in case you wish to jump into topics ahead. So in my early 30s, I started to see in my skin, namely on the sides of my nose, around my mouth and near the ears, small little broken capillaries, small red veins, which have a technical name that is quite a tongue twister even in my native Portuguese. And unfortunately these are very common both in females and males. They can appear at any age and there are several causes for it. Some of them, like inborn, they are genetic. People with fair skin, sensitive skin, normally can develop them at a certain point in their life, as well as if they suffer rosacea or acne. There are also like outside factors like difference in pressure or very aggressive changes in temperature, stress. So the number of factors that can cause the little red spider veins, as they sometimes are also called, are quite numerous. I chose from Wikipedia one or two examples of photos that actually show clearly or more clearly what I had at the time for you to see. Although the spidery appearance is caused by the swollen vessels just below the surface of the skin, I had one quite big that was actually protruding over the surface, and it was in a similar position to the one highlighted in the example 1. My cousin was at the time working in a renowned clinic in Lisbon, and she advised me to treat it there with IPL. IPL means intense pulsed light, and as the name suggests, the treatment is done by shooting an intense pulse of broad range light, visible light, into the skin. This light eats up the cells that we want to correct, the red veins or the melanonin cells that give the pigmentation to the skin, and destroys them. The body then reabsorbs those destroyed cells and create new perfect ones. The difference between IPL and the laser treatments, namely the Fotona, is that while IPL has a broad range of wavelength on the light that is shot to the skin, the laser treatments only use light with one single wavelength, and that means that the treatment is more focused, more targeted to the problem that we want to correct, and therefore also it affects less all the area around the point which was shot. Now, IPL is effective. My small veins on the sides of the nose, close to the eye and near my ears, disappeared, at least for a period of time. But I found treatment a little bit painful, especially here close to the nose, even when a numbing cream is applied. Also, in particular, and I'm sharing with you my experience, my skin reacts with it very strongly. It has an initial allergic reaction that I can bring down taking histaminic tablets, but still the burned skin creates fluids that drop with gravity to the area next to the jaw and on the neck, and all of this area gets very swollen. I did a treatment in 2011, then again in 2015, and the next photo that I will show you is for the treatment that I did in 2015. And if you are a little bit sensitive, I'm just warning you that it's not really pretty. Unfortunately, I have found out that when you have this type of conditions in your skin, you almost battle through your entire life to keep them under control. I knew that sooner or later I would have to do more treatments here in the UK. Last year, more or less about this time, the highly regarded professional makeup artist Caroline Barnes made 2 YouTube videos on similar treatments to the ones that I did. She not only recorded the treatment, it was a laser treatment, but also the conversation and all the explanations that Debbie Thomas, which is a highly respected and renowned, one of the best laser facialists in the UK, gave to her. I was so fascinated with all the experience that Debbie showed, and by her explanations to the different issues and solutions that the laser treatments could provide, that I decided to go to the same clinic. I have placed those 2 videos and Caroline Barnes' YouTube channel link down below in the description. On my videos you will see in this one almost the entire complete treatment and Debbie explaining the different issues that I have on my skin and what she's going to do to treat them, and my questions regarding them. And on the second one I will show you how was the recovery process and my final opinion regarding the laser treatments.
Okay, so today we're doing the DNA2 laser treatment on me, which is our bespoke laser facial. What that means is that we're going to be combining several different technologies to not only help to improve the physical look of the skin, but also to really strengthen it and rejuvenate the skin from within. Because when you've got really strong, healthy skin, that means it will look better regardless of any other imperfections that you have. But if we can treat the imperfections and make the skin stronger and healthier, we're going to get a much better overall result. So I'm going to start off just by cleansing.
So I only placed moisturizer and a little bit of sunscreen, physical sunscreen.
Yeah. So with your skin, the things that we're going to be really focusing on is we always want to even out the skin as much as possible. So that means the colour of the skin, redness, pigmentation spots, which are both tied quite closely to sun damage. But as we go through big hormonal changes like the menopause, some of that damage may have lain dormant for 20-30 years and it's only now coming to the surface, and part of that is because the skin loses some of its resilience. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give it back some of its resilience and we're trying to repair some of the damage and certainly manage some of the damage as it comes through.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that in the last couple of years, it means like freckles have been exploding in my face all over it. I mean, I used to have freckles here, and now it's...
Even the freckles that you had when you were quite young, you weren't born with them. You would have developed them after childhood, playing outside, that kind of thing. And then obviously progressively you get more and more of them as you have years of sun exposure. Even if you didn't really sunbathe, you were just out playing or you're walking around it.
Oh, but I did.
I know. Well, I think we're all of the age where we were all, I think 40s and 50s and 60s, we were all sunbathing quite a lot. So
70s, 80s.
Well, I mean, yeah, sorry, I was talking about age-wise, because I'm in my 40s and I sunbathed when I was a teenager, for sure, quite a lot, and all of my friends.
And I came from Portugal, and as you can imagine, the sun is stronger there.
Yeah.
And obviously sunscreen when I was less than 10 years was not something that...
No. And the thing that I can see quite a lot with your skin, and we did talk about it last time you came in, is this little bit of strange colouring that's sort of on your neck, which is kind of a browny red, little bit blotchy. So that's something called Poikilodermia, and I see that a lot with my clients that were actually brought up in Australia and in places like South Africa. But it's a combination of... The neck is more sensitive than the face anyway, but we obviously, again, we grew up squirting perfume on the base of underneath our things because that's where everyone could smell it more, but this perfume makes your skin more sensitive to light. So this is a different type of sun damage, but it's sun damage caused by the photosensitivity of perfume. So again, it's something that we just have to very slowly work at improving. So what I'm doing now is just a quick pass of the Hidrofacial. So a lot of people would have heard of Hidrofacial now. It's a type of microdermabrasion. It exfoliates, cleans and hydrates the skin in one. And I want to exfoliate off some of the dead skin so that when I do the laser treatment, the lasers will actually penetrate just a little bit better. So it's a very subtle difference, but it does make a better treatment when we're using the laser.
Of course, I had a lot of acne until quite late, actually. So I know lasering is good for the scars, but for those depressions, I don't think it is, right?
Sometimes the resurfacing lasers can be. So if you think about things like Fraxel, so any type of erbium or CO2 laser can help with milder depressions. But really the best treatment that I've seen for, there's two ways to go. There's the quite invasive way, which does have results, but it's quite a full-on treatment, is where you have a combination of subcision. Subcision, which is you have to go to a doctor to have it done, and it's where they actually go under the skin with like a needle that has a tiny little blade at the end, and they cut the tiny bonds that hold the scar tissue down, that kind of pull it down, and then they will do something like either a TCA peel, which is a very, very strong chemical peel, or they will do again laser peeling, and the combination of that can give very good results. But you're probably looking at between 5 to 14 days worth of recovery, just depending on how strong they need to go. We do a treatment here called Energet, which is a kinetic remodeling of the skin. So it doesn't use a laser, it actually uses the movement of liquid to cause damage individually beneath the skin. And it's almost like an explosion under the skin of hyaluronic acid. So it does penetrate through, you do get a tiny little bit of bleeding, and you do have recovery time, but the recovery time is more like 3 to 5 days. So if I'm doing acne scarring, I tend to use the energetic remodeling, skin remodeling, combined with a little bit of laser, depending on if I'm treating other things.
At the moment, I have a lot of things to take care of, but it's something that really annoys me. And my acne, it was quite bad, even when I didn't took my hands to my face. Yeah, it's still scarred anyway.
Well, this is one of the things that I think a lot of people get very frustrated with acne, is you get told a lot of things. Like if you have acne, people are very judgmental. They think you're not cleaning properly, you're not eating properly, you're not this, you're not, you know, they always think it's your fault you have acne. And the reality is acne is no different to having psoriasis or eczema or, you know, another skin condition similar to that. Yes, there are sometimes things that we can do that may aggravate a breakout, but the reality is you have acne. It's a condition that comes from within. And then when it comes to things like scarring, some people scar and some people don't. I've had acne for nearly 20 years now, so I only got my acne as an adult and I still have it now. I'm 40, but I never get scars. But then I've got other clients who've never touched their skin, never ever squeezed a spot or done anything like that. They've got horrific scarring. I've got other people that pick at their skin like crazy and they've got no scarring. It's down to your genetic DNA, how your skin responds to those kind of treatments. So it's definitely not something you did or didn't do right. It's just how your skin is. So annoying, but.
Yes, and one of the things, and I would like your opinion on what can I do to improve it. On my forehead, sometimes here I have this like bumps, I don't comedones, or you know, like
are they white or are they
white? The nose, they get black, but here you can actually see one or two here.
Yeah, I mean sometimes they might just be little milia. I think that's possibly what they are. And a milia is just a really deep blackhead. It's a blackhead that hasn't come to the surface because the oil that you make is naturally more of a white colour, but it goes black when it oxidizes. So it's when the air hits it. And so when you've got an open comedone, which is what a blackhead is, the head of the pore is obviously open, so air can get in and it mixes with with what's inside the skin and it oxidizes and goes darker. With these very, very deep ones, no oxygen gets to them, so they stay white. And the only way really to remove a milia, which are the deepest ones, is to have it removed professionally. So we use little tiny sterilized medical needles, which have got almost like a surgical grade tip, which is like a little blade. So we can very, very carefully just open up the skin and then get the milia out. So I'm going to do now the piano mode laser, which is the Fotona Laser, and it's a very long pulse. So all lasers have there's lots of different pulses, there's lots of different ways of using the lasers, but this one in particular, it penetrates the deepest. So Nd:YAG is the deepest penetrating laser, and it heats up those very, very deep cells within the skin, which is where all the new cells and the collagen and everything is made. So what we're trying to do now is we're trying to encourage the skin to produce lots of collagen and elastin and to make new skin cells quicker. And the combination of those three is going to give us a much a stronger, healthier skin. And that's what we're always trying to achieve, is this healthy.
I know that when we lose firmness of the skin, so we start to sag and we start to have the double chin and so on. But there's another reason for that. You said in the Caroline Barnes video that it can be due to losing volume, exactly, due to the bone reduction and also fat on the tissue and so on. What do you think it's my case? Do you think my skin is not very firm?
So the test that we always say to people to understand your collagen is the pinch test. When you pinch it, does it ping back very quickly? Yours does. You know, your skin is still actually very firm and it's got a lot of elasticity in it. So there is a possibility it's more that underlying structure that's starting to reduce down. I always say to people, it's like your scaffolding or your coat hanger. Even if you have got the most beautiful skin, or you have the most beautiful, let's talk about clothes, the most beautiful dress that's, you know, exquisite material and it's completely wrinkle free and you've just had it dry cleaned and it comes back on a hanger. If you take it off the hanger and drop it on the floor, it's going to be crinkled again. You have to keep it on the hanger for it to look the way that we want it to look. So some people come to me and they have very good skin and they have a lot of elasticity. So I cannot force the skin to do something that it wouldn't do naturally. So wherever your skin would be naturally, I can try and encourage it to get back there. But what I can't do is give you a facelift or give you someone else's face. So quite often when people talk to me about lifting, it's not something that I ever commit to being able to do, because it varies so much from person to person, the amount of lifting and tightening I'll achieve. I will always get someone's skin looking better. I will always get someone's skin looking fresher, more even in colour, feeling better, behaving better. But lifting and tightening is something that I can only, as I say, encourage your skin to go to where it naturally would be. So if you were particularly worried about the sort of the dropping of the lower face, that's when you potentially have to consider things like the next level type treatments, which could be something like filler to redo the volume, to replace some of the natural volume that you've lost. There are obviously things now like the thread lifts, which are little sort of medical string that goes underneath the skin. It's got tiny little hooks on it. And once they've threaded it under the skin, they pull and the hooks all catch, and it's like a non-surgical facelift.
Oh my God.
So there are lots of options out there now that are the next, as I say, the next level. I just really work on that skin to get it as good as I can do. So what I've done is I've got your skin up to a temperature of 42 degrees, and I'm just maintaining it for about 3 minutes at that temperature. So I've already done about 2 minutes. I'm just going to do another minute. And we know from clinical studies and that when the skin is kept at a temperature of about 42 degrees for 2 to 3 minutes, that triggers the regeneration process. Because your skin thinks that it's been damaged, so it's a type of controlled damage, but actually there is no real physical damage to the skin. It's still, as you know, when you leave here, there's no visible sort of redness or swelling or any issues with it.
By using these lasers, this one and the other ones for pigmentation and for the red blood vessels, the small ones from the rosacea, that helps reducing the size of the sebaceous glands?
No, if you want to affect the sebaceous glands, you have to use something that specifically targets that. So again, the Nd:YAG can be very helpful for that, because it's the deepest penetrating lasers. And what we try and do is we try and heat the sebaceous glands up, similar to what we're doing with this, but this is going past the sebaceous gland, it's going much deeper. So we use a wavelength that's a little bit shorter so it doesn't go so deep. And it kind of just temporarily paralyzes them. So it won't stop them working forever, but it can give them a short break. So whenever we're treating something like acne, we we can get really good results in terms of the acne can massively reduce, but it is a management process. It's not a curing process, so we can reduce all the symptoms of the acne down, but you have to maintain the treatment if you want to get the long-term results.
One thing I find a little bit confusing is what is the difference between IPL and other laser treatments for the rosacea?
In terms of what they do, there isn't a lot of difference. It's just how they do it. So IPL is a broad spectrum light. It lets out lots of different wavelengths in one, whereas a laser only ever produces one wavelength. Mm-hmm. So if I've got someone that's got very sensitive skin, or they've got a very specific concern initially, I would always start with laser because I can be so much more targeted with laser. Once I started working on someone's skin, and I've always sort of say to people it's like peeling an onion. I've peeled the first layer of the onion off, and then I know what's going on underneath. Then I'm in a position to perhaps move them onto IPL because I know that their skin will be able to tolerate it. It will be safe because I've already removed some of the obvious initial issues. IPL picks up on lots of things, and if you have lots of things in the skin all in one go, you will find that it reacts quite strongly. So if you can remove some of the most obvious issues, then when you do the IPL is fantastic. I mean, it's an incredible treatment and it's very, very proven. But I just find when I started my business, I didn't buy an IPL until I bought all of my lasers. So I made sure I had all of my individual lasers first. So I had very, very targeted, specific treatments I was able to do. And then the last thing I brought in was the IPL, which, I say is very effective, but just a little bit less predictable. But all of them work fine with, let's say, a broken blood vessel, for instance. Mm-hmm. The light energy that's produced is absorbed by the hemoglobin, which is the red that's in your blood. And as it's a bit like when you're outside in the sunshine and you've got a very dark clothing on, you absorb the heat much quicker. Mm-hmm. When you are wearing a white top or a white shirt, you reflect the light. So every laser has things that absorb it and reflect it. So when we're dealing with redness, we obviously want the lasers or the IPL filter that is absorbed by the hemoglobin absorbs. When the light energy is absorbed by the hemoglobin, it very quickly turns to heat, and the heat cauterizes the blood vessel, which then makes it collapse. When we're treating pigmentation, the light energy is absorbed by the melanin, mm-hmm. so the pigment cells that you see, and it disrupts those cells so that they're no longer, I suppose, healthy cells, and then your body will automatically just get rid of them. So again, we're trying to damage those cells specifically, and because we've got lasers and a specific setting on the IPL that will pretty much only see pigment, we know that we can get that kind of result.
So now you are using?
So now I'm using the Nd:YAG on a very different setting. This is much more intense. You can probably feel it's much more of a prickling sensation, a little bit like the elastic band flicks. Mm-hmm. And this is a setting I use a lot for my clients that have acne but also rosacea. It helps to reduce the bacteria a little bit. It does have an effect on the sebaceous glands, and it helps to reduce some of the overall redness.
I'm smelling
a little bit of burning hair.
Yeah.
Smells like singed, yeah. So even though this wavelength isn't, it wouldn't actually completely destroy a hair, so it won't stop hair growth. It obviously is slightly picked up by the melanin in some of the hairs near the surface, so that's why you can smell them burning just a little bit.
Oh, I don't mind. I think hairs on the face serve no purpose whatsoever.
No, it's just a shame it doesn't remove them permanently, but at least it does lots of other things.
This time I'm definitely going to take the antihistaminic tablets because...
A lot of swelling last time? Yeah. I can see some of the treatment that we did last time where you have the white lines. When your skin goes very red, you can actually see the areas that were treated. Looks good, but we obviously need to do much more of it.
I find that my type of rosacea, well, first is clearly genetic. All my mother's side of the family has it.
Yeah.
Second is clearly stress related. I find that treating the redness of the rosacea and the small blood vessels on the nose is something that is like a maintenance actually.
Yeah. It is. I mean, every time you flush, you make your skin becomes just a tiny little bit weaker and more prone to flushing next time. So that's why I keep saying that I'm trying to also make the skin strong, not just treat the redness, but actually do more than that, because you probably would have noticed that 5, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you didn't get red as quickly. Now you get red a lot quicker. And it's because each time you flush, your skin gets a little bit weaker. Flushing is a type of inflammation. And when your skin is inflamed, it actually almost attacks itself. Inflammation means your collagen breaks down a little bit quicker, the cells don't renew as quickly. So it's very minute and it happens very slowly, but obviously over a number of years you suddenly start seeing that your skin is reacting more and more and everything like that. So as much as I am going to try and treat your rosacea and obviously we're going to even out your pigmentation and try and help a little bit with the scarring, they say really it's my overall job is really to make your skin very strong and healthy.
And I found out, unfortunately, that red wine and Porto also make me flush, which means it's not good.
No. And the thing is, it's quite a strange one with red wine because a really good red wine, one small glass a day, is actually supposed to be very good for you because
exactly.
of the antioxidants. But if your body doesn't like it, it's got to be a no-go, because every time you have it and you flush, you're actually adding or speeding up the aging process just a little bit. So unless it's a very special occasion, I would avoid.
Especially Porto, because it's strong.
Yeah.
You say you have acne. I don't see you have a great skin.
I'm very lucky that I don't get marks from my acne, but I almost constantly have a small breakout. When I was in my early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, it was particularly bad. And when I started doing laser, actually, I started doing laser when I was probably in my mid-20s. I think I started working with lasers. And I was only doing acne treatments, so I would always have an acne treatment like once a month or something to help to manage my acne. And then it was after maybe about 2 years, I started to realise that my acne was definitely better. It was much more manageable, but I also noticed that my skin was just so much healthier. It was really healing much quicker, looked brighter, felt better. So this, you should be able to watch and see some of the little white marks coming up as we blanch out these individual veins. And I can't go really close to each other. We have to do this over multiple sessions. And actually, just looking at this now, I can see tiny little bit of a blue tinge to that, so I'm actually going to turn it down a bit more because that will leave a bruise. They're very tiny, they're only 2 millimeters, but I don't want to leave bruising if I don't have to.
I have a strange type of blood. I didn't complete the testing, but I get bruising on the skin very easily.
Yeah.
You know, I sometimes even a strong pressure is enough to...
Yeah, these aren't too bad. It is very slight, but I can see that it's definitely reactive. But once of course with these things, if the bruising will disappear sort of over a few days, and then
yeah, of course, that's no problem.
Then you do have the well that you can see that, but you should be able to see now lots of little white dots in amongst the red, and each session will obviously chip away, treat more and more of the red area. I can't do it very close together because it would be too traumatic for the skin.
Yes, I understand.
And you end up then with more potential for something like a burn or just a much stronger sort of almost like an allergy type reaction. But once we have done some sessions like this and we reduce this redness down a lot, then we might be able to do IPL on you just to finish the last little bit, because there'll be a lot less
traumatic.
Yes, exactly.
Which is the shorter wavelength laser? The one for the redness or the one for the pigmentation?
Pigmentation tends to be shorter wavelengths because you want quite a short, sharp shock to the pigment. And just going to put some cooling gel in the area. And treat the other side, because I might do some more on that side if it seems like you can tolerate it. Otherwise, leave it.
I still have a...
Yeah, we'll do those.
Feels good.
So just aloe vera gel, because aloe vera is quite anti-inflammatory, it's calming, and obviously it's nice and cool as well, so it just takes some of the heat out of the skin. We've done that. Setting, and this is much more to target the slightly bigger blood vessels which are on the nose.
The tablets, the antihistaminics, they can be from any brand, from Boots, for instance?
It's just some of the swelling that you get from the treatment is a histamine reaction, so it's your body's almost trying to repair itself and it causes a swelling. So an antihistamine just reduces some of that stronger reaction. So obviously only take them if you know you're fine with them normally, that you've had no bad reaction to them in the past and things. But they can help. They don't stop it completely, but they just reduce some of the reactiveness. Okay, so this is to work on these veins now. So always quite a sensitive area around the nose.
Can I film this closer?
Yeah. I'll just do it from the other side. Yeah, probably just.
Like this?
Probably need it more. Okay, so if you bring your arm just up, just that way. That's actually perfect. It'll just be for 2 minutes. So I'm going to work on some of these little veins. So just as I go along the vein, it will start to disappear.
You can see it?
Yeah. They disappear pretty much instantly. Sometimes you get a little bit of a blue residue, and that can take, again, 4 or 5 days to completely disappear. But if it goes blue, it still means that we've destroyed the blood vessel.
The skin feels like a sunburn.
Yes, it will feel quite warm. And I'm just showing as well some of the bumps we can see coming up. So a lot of people don't get as strong as a reaction as you do. So it's very much